Somebody explain to me. Exactly what black women did to make damn near every race, even a lot of our own black men, hate us.
Sure can took advantage of government assistance, kicked us out of the house, joined the feminist train and demonized your men, allowed billions of dollars every year to exit our community on fake aesthetics of beauty, praised and joined homosexual men while demonizing heterosexual men that assert themselves, took our children away from us and used them as bargaining chips to further financially disenfranchise us, used sex as a weapon in our intimate relationships to get what you want, became the only women in the world to tell the world that they don't need their men, perpetuated the trope that black women are the backbone of black communities, which directly implies that black men have no spine and are useless, continually pushing the narrative that black women are the winners of the oppression Olympics while not having any metric of which they are treated worse than black men, allowed their weight to slip such that sexual attraction is diminished.
What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, your host of Everyone Hates Black Men. Again, my name is Edward Anderson, and you know how it is. We keep it real, even when it hurts, and we're going to have some fun today. We'll see who can come up. We'll see how this goes. I'm not trying to do no 5-hour stream. I do have other things to do, but I have some things I want to get off my chest and have a conversation about. So I see Alan has a post and he can't be along, so I'll definitely respect his time. So first of all, shout out to the super sticker, £5 for Anti-Social Light Podcast. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate all the cash apps you all have been giving me as well. I see I have a good push of new subscribers with that, especially with that upload. So appreciate you all. Hope you all enjoy the conversation. And shout out to Blackfoot with the $1.99 super sticker. And here we go with Alan's post for the $10, much appreciated, good sir. And he says, can't stay long, brother Edward, but please explain to me what the very specific disagreement and argument that you and Obsidian had with each other, particularly as it related to my name and how it was being used. Well, part of that was me playing. I was playing, but I was serious at the same time. So you know as well, you've had more back and forth with Obsidian than I have. So, I mean, the thing about it is, and I'm not trying to talk about Obsidian or anything, but like in a negative way, because I do respect what he does. But one thing to answer your question, and one thing I was gonna say anyway, is Obsidian gets in debate mode where it's more about winning a debate than it is about really getting clarity and understanding. I'm a straight shooter. I say what it is. I say what I think. I analyze the variables. And if you have better information, we can take that into consideration. But the specific disagreement what I got tired of is Obsidian at some point. It's one thing for me to bring, because I do it. I'm not gonna act like I don't do it. I reference what other people say. And he did it while you was there. But it gets to a point where he was using you to create contrived arguments that he can argue against, that nobody was making. Nobody was making the arguments that he was making. And he does that in order to drive certain points home that are going to appeal to certain people. And this has been the main I've defended Obsidian, as he has a right to do it. That don't mean I got to deal with it right. He's right there in front of me. But on his channel, he has a right to do that. But like when we're in other people's stuff, and I kind of consider Bernard kind of an extension of his domain to a certain extent. But even still, he's trying to control the conversation. And he kept on using you as a means of doing that. And I mean, and I'm not saying you were doing anything. You were answering the questions as they were asked. But even when you didn't answer the questions towards the end, I mean, if you look, Bernard's a straight shooter. So, I mean, if Bernard is really starting to say shit is contrived, I mean, it's not just me making an argument. So I was getting tired of that. That's why I said, dude, the Allen Roger Curry credit card is maxed out. Stop trying to use him to make your own points. Stop trying to do that, because what you're doing is you're not really being direct. Because there's certain things with his experiences those are abnormal experiences. And that's not to say that they're not possible, but the reality is they're not likely. And so to try to use those experiences, and no, what we're not going to do, I'm Point Dexter, I fuck with you, but I got to put you in timeout. I'm letting you know right now. What we're not going to do, and what y'all go do in the chat to start. I know y'all got y'all. I'm going to tell y'all, like I told y'all in the beginning, if y'all got y'all issues with Obsidian, take y'all ass in his comment section and blow that shit up and let him know how you feel. But what we're not going to do is start disparaging him, saying he's a clown or he's this, he's that. I told you all that the first time. And I said it wasn't going to happen again. And, technically it is my platform. And this is not we going to start talking shit about Obsidian because this chat is a reflection of me. Well, you about to get timed out too, B. Because this shit is a reflection. Y'all playing with me. Don't fuck with me. I'm telling you, I don't give a fuck. Y'all don't understand. You all are a reflection of me. And I'm accountable to what the fuck I do. But this ain't gonna be Obsidian's a clown. Obsidian's this. Because number one, that makes it easy for him to cop out of shit. I keep telling you all about that. Stop with the red meat shit all the time. I'm about to break down. I'm gonna let y'all get on if y'all want to say something, I'll let y'all get on the panels. But I'm gonna break down what it's no different between Courtney and this. I'm gonna break down what's being said and why it's bullshit. But see, y'all let people off the hook when y'all want to say somebody's this, somebody's that without really breaking the shit down. Shout out to Silent who broke it shit down. And we did a good job of breaking it down on stream. And I ain't blocking you this time, Josh. So I'm telling y'all that right now. Y'all be thinking I be bullshitting with that. And y'all know I'm not like that with a lot of people. I'm not. But I'm not going to, I don't do that passive aggressive. I'm going to let y'all say shit so I can pretend I didn't see it. Now, I'm in front of my computer now. I'm not on my phone. So I can see what y'all do. And I fuck with some of y'all. But I'm letting y'all know when I say something, I mean it. Shout out to, and I'm not like that, but for real. Michael Ross with the $5. Because I don't see I don't see people doing that shit to me. Letting motherfuckers unless those people don't like me. The creators throwing me under the bus and shit. So no, I can disagree. I can disagree with your ass like a motherfucker. Alan has cussed me out a couple of times. Alan has, Kevin has, Obsidian has. So shit, motherfuckers know I don't hold back on what the fuck I think. Fuck the bullshit. Angry Man has, but what we're not gonna do is do that little bullshit where y'all just start disparaging motherfuckers. Now, if y'all want to make shit about how his points are bullshit, y'all are perfectly fine in doing that. But when we start calling motherfuckers clown, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm not gonna do it after the fact. And I'm telling you now, don't super chat no bullshit because I ain't reading it. And I want the money, but it ain't. I'm telling you. Shout out to ER. Obsidian goes off on people, including you, but you gotta protect him, huh? Number one, dude, y'all not about to take me off my bullshit. This is not the Roast Obsidian show. So if that's what y'all looking for, y'all can take it somewhere else. I said what I said. I mean what the fuck I say. It ain't about, regardless of what he does, my standard is my fucking standard, regardless of what anybody else does. And I hold to my shit. That's it. Nothing else needs to be said. Well, he does it to you, so you should do it to them. Fine. Let's say he does. That don't make me not me. Period. Anyway, back to my point. To what I just want to make that known so it's known it can be said. Anyway, with what Alan was saying, like I said, he was using you to make an argument. And that good girl bullshit is bullshit. I've dealt with multiple different classes, including elite classes. I got, so I kind of move around, even though I'm more in the middle. And what you're saying with the good girl shit, yeah, that's differently defined in different classes. In certain classes where you're college educated and stuff, and your parents were college educated, you're used to a certain baseline. That's what class is. So if you're used to a certain of baseline, then if I ask somebody that their parents went to college and that's what and then let's say they upperly mobile, but they only know the class they were in, which is upper middle class or middle class to upper middle class, live in the suburbs, house, maybe started off in the townhome, they got shit like that. They're going to say what Alan said. They're going to say, a good girl is this, that, and the third, because that's their baseline. But that's only certain percentage of black people's baselines. The majority of black men are not saying that in a college education is a prerequisite to being a good girl. The girl next door, the around the way girl. It depends. Urban environments are different than suburban environments, and class has it. Shout out to BGS Igmore with the octane system. We've gone through this. We have a system of looking at it. So it's not like, okay, well, this is just some shit that's being said and we know. We know 92s, 87s, 85s, the upperly 92s, the 100 massive, that stuff has been outlined. So the disagreement as far as you was he was using you as a proxy to make his point to try to shut down anybody else. That is a disingenuous argument. That is manipulative. And quite frankly, it's disrespectful to the other brothers because it insinuates, it implies that you think you're smarter than us. Not you, but Obsidian, that he even could pull that. And so it makes it then when he started to try to distill back to when we were getting animated, because we were having a bullshit allergic reaction at the same time, then it makes it sound like we're being petty because it sounds like we're distilling into just nigga shit because we're not intelligent enough to counter his arguments. But a lot of the frameworks in that conversation, the framework, go ahead. That's the issue. So it wasn't like an issue in and of it. I'm getting angry. It was that, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that and then think because you're here in the conversation that we're going to just fall back on that. We're not going to do that. He was trying to use hierarchy. When he didn't, and he was using it in a bad way when he didn't have the real art. He was not right. He wasn't. And everybody basically came in on that. That's all it was. What is up, good sir?
Well, thank you for having me up. I appreciate it. I think this might be the first time I've ever been on a panel on your channel.
I think you've been on here once before, but it was a long time ago. Those videos have been unlisted. Actually, I'm about to put a lot of that old stuff on Patreon, which will be free because I just want a place to put it, which is nothing wrong with a paid Patreon. I just like to focus where people give me money. That's all.
Oh, I know I've been in your chat room before, but I didn't know I was up on your panel. But yeah, I might have. Anyway, here was the thing. I heard him probably, I don't know, an estimated 5 or 6 times say, I'm sure Alan Roger Curry would agree with me. And I think only the first 2 times did I clearly hear what he said. The rest of the times I was distracted with
Yeah, you
other
were quiet.
stuff. Yeah, I was, because I had a guy cutting grass, so I muted my mic, and I didn't want anybody hearing that lawnmower sound. And I wasn't 100% paying attention until I would hear my name. And he would say, again, something to the effect of, I'm sure Alan Roger Curry would agree with me. And I was basically like, okay, what am I agreeing with? Now, I've already expressed on Bernard's panel, there was at least minimum 1, if not 2 things I disagree with. And you already alluded to one of them. One was, it sounded like Obsidian at one point was saying that the only woman who deserves the label of good girl is a woman who's either a virgin or a woman who's a strictly monogamy-oriented, relationship-oriented woman from a middle class or upper middle class 2-parent household. And I specifically said, I disagree with that. Any woman that's either a virgin or if not a virgin, a monogamy-oriented, relationship-oriented woman would deserve the label of good girl. Like, for example, a woman could have grown up in the projects, but if she's either a virgin or if not a virgin, she's a very strictly monogamy-oriented, relationship-oriented woman, then she also deserves the label of good girl. So I don't think that the label of good girl is per se a class oriented issue. And
which was the main disagreement.
Yeah, it sounded like that's what Obsidian was suggesting or saying or implying. And I disagree with that. And then more so as it relates to me specifically, it sounded at one point like he also was suggesting that Alan Roger Curry has only had sex with college educated women from upper middle class 2-parent households. I'm not sure if he said that.
To be fair, he didn't say. I didn't hear him say that.
Okay.
I didn't hear him say that. And I wouldn't even go as far as to say he implied that. The other thing he would say, the first thing you said is he'd say he never used those words, although he heavily implied. See, the argument was that he was trying to say that most black men define a good girl as this, including blue collar people. Blue collar people define a good girl as being educated and implying that that's a heavy factor. That's why I said that only like really 10% of black men have that as like a really, like, that's a deal that can be in the deal breaker category. When if you have other things but you don't have that, then, and that's when I said, okay, I'll give you that for people that went to college, their parents went to college, or they got to a certain economic status, which you got to, with black men, to get the 10%. If you make like 80,000, you're in the top 10. So that's really stretching that. But people are in the 10% for different reasons, not necessarily economic, right? You could be, obviously in the academia or in the political field and stuff. So I get all of, I gave them, that's where that kind of came from, saying, okay, these are the guys that are probably going to go with that. But the vast, and it doesn't matter if 90% is not a big, let's say 20%. Let's go as far as 20%. That still doesn't deal with the overall 80%, which that's probably not a factor. A big factor if you can get other things. That's what I was saying, because he was trying to make it like a good girl is this definition. And with black men, it's much more, it's broader than that. It's not like class is not really the biggest factor in a man saying that somebody's a good girl. I'm not going to say it's a factor, but that's not like the first thing you bring up. As far as, oh, she's a good girl because she's quote unquote intelligence class. I know plenty of women that are intelligent and don't have a college degree.
Yeah, that's true. There's people who are definitely intelligent that don't. I would make the argument that both you and Obsidian would consider yourself intelligent, and neither one of you have a college degree. So yeah, there's definitely people who are intelligent that don't have. So on the whole good girl issue, I don't. Now there is a lot of issues that are discussed in this space. Honestly, where I do think sometimes that the issue of class is under discussed. But that said,
class is not discussed enough in the Black community. It's class. I would say culture is less discussed in class, but class is in that same category too.
But that said, to me again, the good girl. I don't agree with Obsidian's correlation between being labeled a good girl and being, say, college educated or coming from an upper middle class background. Because I mean, a woman could be a slut and come from a two-parent household. It might be less likely compared to, say, some women from lower class households, but it's definitely not impossible or highly unlikely. So the good girl has to do with how that woman's handling her personal sex life. But I guess I was curious specifically with you, because one of the very last times he used my name, and this was one of those times where I wasn't really paying attention, I just heard your reaction, and you were really animated. You were like, quit using Allen.
You know how it is in Chicago. Well, my bullshit meter tipped off. You know how it is. And it's like, and I gave him some like warning saying, come on, man, you kind of, and then it's like he's just going to double, triple down. It got to the point where people in the chat at the end said he was just trolling. Let me read these super chats real quick because they want to be heard. CA says there's a reason why Obsidian has become irrelevant. He barely gets 200 live viewers while everyone passes by. That's actually not included by. That's actually not true. Obsidian is actually, shout out for the $5. I appreciate that, but he's actually been growing. So a lot of this new kind of way he's doing stuff is working for him as far as growth. And then B says, Ed, did you really time me out for saying everyone says about Obsidian? I super chat regularly. Yes, I understand that, and I'm letting you know that when I still timed you out. I know how much you super chat me, and yes, I did. That wasn't an accident or a slip of a finger, because I told you something and you did it anyway. And really, I told you I wasn't, well, you didn't make it about him. You just read it, make it about you. So I read it. But when I say something, I say it for a reason. And y'all, I'll come back to that because I know your time is limited. But that WWE shit, look, I can kill somebody's point. I don't have to go after them. And I don't think that warrants that. But like I said, but as far as me getting animated, I was getting animated because that was like the third time we said that. Everybody was saying that. And he just kept doing it. He just kept doing it. And in the art, it wasn't like because when I do something like that, I've heard somebody directly say it at least once, because I know how you and Obsidian, y'all share that in common, and other people have it. If y'all misquote it, y'all get mad. And a lot of people do. But in this space, y'all are more known for that than others. So if I do that, and both of y'all have kind of called me for, not getting it 100% right. So I've made sure if I say something, it's something I've heard people quote or say before, so I'm kind of careful with that, but that's why I got animated. It wasn't like I was getting mad. It was just, I was saying, dude, you maxed it out because he kept going to it. Like you said, he kept going to it. And the thing is, the argument did not stand. So he was trying to borrow you. And there was a couple of things that was said in there that I'm going to speak on. But the good girl thing, I kind of think that Obsidian is kind of putting his own personal preferences into that, what he qualifies as a good girl, but everybody has different things based on the environment that they're in. I mean, there's a similarity, but he's trying to make it seem like, oh, the reason why you can't get the bitch you want is because you ain't got no money. That's what he was basically doing. And we know that a lot of these women for higher classes, even if they may not be seen with certain dudes, if you pass the genetic currency test, you can get sexual access, even though you're not economically on point. It's just whether they go show you that they chick.
I think anybody who's traveled like I have in the bougies, I even said that at least once on Bernard's own channel. I forget what the overall discussion was, but I basically said that, see, with bouginess, it's not just about how much money you make or even how educated you are. But probably one of the more underrated factors is just, as you kind of put it, your genetic pedigree, so to speak.
Yeah, genetic currency. And he was trying to make, when he said average, he was kind of saying physical is, but when we say average, you can be average in economics and above average. I mean, if you're 6 foot, you're in the top 14% off gate. So no matter what you do, I'm not saying that you can just be 6 foot and that's it, but you get what I'm saying. So,
yeah, because like when I was, a good example for me would be mainly when I would say roughly because see, I wasn't a traditional college student, meaning I didn't graduate in like 4 or 5 years. I was in college, then I left to pursue an acting career, and then I came back at the age of 28, and I ended up graduating at the age of 29. Now, let's say in between the age of roughly 22, 23 to about 28, number one, I wasn't a college graduate, and number two, I was financially struggling, but I was still able to bang quite a bit of bougie quality women because I had that kind of bougie pedigree, both physically and personality wise. I had what I would call a bougie pedigree. So a lot of women gave me access to their pussy because of that. And so it like you said, it reinforced the point. It wasn't strictly on economics. For damn sure, I didn't have no economics working for me in my 20s at all. But yeah, certain bougie type women would just look at me and as well as talk to me, and they could tell, again, I had that bougie type pedigree.
So, yeah, I've seen that. You see that more with white people in particular. If they either come from money or they kind of slumming it, but they'll kind of bounce it back in because they come from those groups. And I've seen that with black folks as well. It's just, again, we don't tend to look at things from a class lens a lot of times enough, as far as, so that's why I like BGS's octane scale so much, because it kind of accounts for that in a very easy way for people to understand. It might not think like that, but that's all it was, man. I mean, he was making the arguments that he were making, because the way he tries to equalize. Look, I'm here to say what the truth is, straight down the middle. I'm not like, it's kind of like equalizing it where men want these women and they can't get what they want. And it's like dudes are more willing to accept what's at their level. And if they don't like it, then they're going to amplify. They'll be motivated to amplify either money, work on their looks, or whatever they need to do to align themselves. Because a lot of dudes, even if they broke, if they get in the gym and really work the gym, especially if they like, it really don't matter what height, but if you like I hate to bring height into it, but if you like 5'8", 5'9", and you get your body right, I mean, you're gonna get sexual access is not an issue. But then you gotta also understand, we were talking about marriage, not sexual access, which are two different things. With a lot of women, even higher class women, have completely different calculations for marriage or long-term relationships than sexual access, because that's when their career trajectory. You saw that in Kamala Harris. When you look at who Kamala Harris at least known to be dealing with, Montel Williams, the dude that was the secretary of I forget his name, but he's a big politician in San Francisco.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that stuff was career oriented, but I'm very sure she dealt with other people, if it's just having sex. Maybe not a lot, but those are different calculations. Those are those women, those Daniels, as BGS said in Insecure, the folks that the women don't approve of, so they don't really show them off around, But black women want what they want, and they're more sexually driven than anything. The top 10% just think about the other factors in that, but they still get it both ways too.
Yeah, well, see, you brought up something else that I could get into, but I ain't gonna get into this because I know you want to talk about that thing. But as far as women fucking guys that they wouldn't necessarily, show around in public, I give one quick example. I'm not gonna get lengthy, but
yeah, and then I got a question for you on that after you give your example.
I've talked about, for example, this brings back Obsidian kept bringing up the fact that I was in a fraternity. Honestly, I'm going to be cocky here and say most of the women I fucked at Indiana University, I could have fucked them even if I wasn't in a fraternity. I'd say at least 1/2 to 2/3 of the women I fucked, I would have been able to fuck them even if I wasn't in a fraternity. Here's where fraternity most helped me fuck some women. I fucked a lot of upper middle class sorority white girls when I was at Indiana University that I'm like 99% certain would not have fucked me if I wasn't a frat guy. Because a lot of these type of white women I'm talking about, they would only, when it came to brothers, the only brothers they would really fuck was either star athletes or fraternity guys. If you weren't in one of them two categories, they wasn't gonna fuck you. And but a lot of these white women, I've told this story on my own channel, some of them, when we were like, say, just generally on campus, they would walk past me like they didn't even know me. And when I confronted a couple of them, they were just really blunt with me. They said, Alan, and this was back in the 80s, so it wasn't about this like racial diversity among young people today. They were basically like, Alan, the reason why I act like I don't know you when I see you on campus, you're a nigger. I can't let my friends know that I've sucked the cock and fucked a nigger. That would ruin my whole social.
And this is considering Alan Roger Curry is in the light-skinned brothers camp being told this.
Yep. And I'm glad you bring that point, because people say, oh, when you light-skinned, you always say, no. These white women, them upper middle class,
they really said the N-word like that.
They would say it just like that. At least two of them. I ain't gonna act like it was a bunch of them. It was at least two that told me that. They was like, Alan, you're a nigger, and I can't let it be known that I'm having sex with niggers. It would like just ruin my whole social reputation. And I'd be like, oh, okay. But see, I would get them back, because when I have them sucking my dick, I say, yeah, tell me you love this nigga dick. Tell me you love sucking this nigga dick. And they would say the shit.
And that is the origin of interracial porn, guys. No, yeah, because I've heard interviews with DJ Vlad when he was interviewing Lisa Ann, because they talked about she was one of the ones that really took it upon herself to pioneer that in the porn industry. Before they realized that was a cash cow market for it. Because, you know, now it's about the money. So you got like the small hat. You got certain groups that, you know, they don't care because there's too much money in it to ignore it. But before then, where they could kind of tell themselves. So I've heard, so if you go to DJ Vlad and you go to his, like, you sort for old videos on his channel, his original videos were porn stars. So that's where I got the information from, if any of y'all want to talk shit. Also, Black Huru, shout out to Black Huru for the super. Shout out to T Fitness for the $4 super sticker. Black Huru said, "There's a certain protocol of respect and empathy amongst manosphere content creators. Learn to read the room, brothers, and move accordingly." Absolutely, and like I said, man, I know y'all gonna be mad, whatever. I mean, I do appreciate y'all, but I'm telling y'all, this ain't no bad session. I didn't get on here to say Obsidian ain't this, ain't that. I'm here for the points, because all Obsidian is gonna do is say folks ain't intelligent enough to really combat what he's saying, so they just start doing the nigga shit, and that ain't me. And so y'all not gonna give it an excuse, because all this stuff anyway. So but the question I want to ask you is, do these, like, I'm talking about black women in particular that are upper in the upper classes, even if these women sexually, like, they respect you, and let's say they sexually submit to you. And I'm talking about back then when you were in your 20s and stuff, like in 20s, early 30s. So you kind of technically didn't have money. Yeah. Would they still technically, like, even if they would show you off to something, because you may still have a bougie pedigree, so that could get away with a party and stuff, would they still technically socially, like, would they respect you? No. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I've talked about that actually quite a few times. Here's the deal. I've often said, and some guys have been able to relate to this, and other guys haven't been able to relate to this. But see, when I was in my 20s and even most of my 30s, here's how I was basically treated. I was treated by women the way a lot of guys treat women. Like, a lot of guys, there's some women that they will pretty much from the get-go treat them like potential girlfriend material or future wife material, and by consequence, they had no problem showing those women off. Then there was other women, even attractive women, that they just looked at as fuck buddies, and they would fuck them quietly behind the scenes. They wouldn't, have those women on their shoulders anywhere. Well, you can say in many respects, that's how a lot of women treated me. I had a lot of women in a nutshell, who were cool with me being their casual fuck buddy, but they would say things to me like, "Oh, Alan, I would never consider you boyfriend material." Oh, they would almost say it with an attitude like, "Oh, hell no." Like one woman I always bring up on my channel,
and these are black women, right?
is this woman I refer to as Sharon that I used to mess around with in LA. She was like that. This woman named Sharon, she kind of resembled, if you're familiar with the actress Sally Richardson. Now her name is Sally Richardson Whitfield. And beautiful woman. And she was, pretty much upper middle class. And that's how she treated me. On the positive end, she loved me as a fuck buddy. As fuck buddies, we had, 5-star chemistry. But there was one point about 6 or 7 months after I was fucking her casually that you could arguably say I caught feelings. And I wanted to upgrade to more of a boyfriend, girlfriend type relationship. And she almost like laughed in my face at that proposition. She was basically like, "Oh, hell no, Alan, no. You broke. Nigga, you broke. You ain't got no money." Because this was a woman who had dated professional athletes. She had dated a couple of entertainment industry celebrities. She was used to 6-7 figure niggas. So with me, she was like, "Oh, if you trying to be my serious boyfriend, no." Yeah, she actually gave me 3 reasons. The biggest one was she said I didn't have enough money to be her boyfriend. She said I was too kinky and promiscuous to be her serious boyfriend. And she said I was too dominant and uncompromising to be her serious boyfriend. And I had that echoed by quite a few women in my day. Not only in my 20s and 30s, but at least once in my 40s, I told the story. There's a woman, last woman who was in that category was in 2013, which was the year of my 50th birthday. She told me that a woman who lived in suburban Chicago, we used to mess around. And again, on the positive end, she loved me as a casual fuck buddy. But she told me during one phone conversation, she said, "Alan," she said, "I would never, ever consider you like boyfriend or husband material." And I said, "Yeah, I've heard that before." She said, "Because you ain't got nothing to offer." At that time, she was like, you ain't got no money. You ain't got really no career success, no financial success. And so she was like, somebody said, "How am I flexing over being treated like just a fuck buddy? How is that flexing?" Flexing would be like if I was promoting myself as a woman that women were trying to beat my door down to date me.
Well, because sexual access has not been a problem in your dating career, and a lot of guys, is whether they get it or not, it's harder to get. They be the dudes because you got to think on the flip. And I was going to ask, you got to think about on the flip side, the dudes that were quote unquote boyfriend material. There's memes out there about that. How dudes that are boyfriend material, because they'll talk about their size. Like you have boyfriend size, which means they can't be wrecked, every day. But it's certain dudes they'll deal with more boyfriend, but the dudes want to be the other guy. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
that's who's perceived to be the alpha. No, I ain't even defending him in the chat. I'm just this actually going to be what I asked. So those guys. So I got a question. Any of those 6-7 figure niggas that you talking about, was there ever? I'm not asking that specific situation, but was there ever? You said it yourself that there was times you slept with women when they were. We ain't gonna do married, but when they were dating other dudes, right? Like other dudes that they would claim as their boyfriend, right?
Yeah, when I was between as most people know, when I was between roughly 17 and 37, I fucked roughly about 40 women that were either married, engaged and married, or had a serious boyfriend at the time. And that's why I've always said, "Oh, okay, Poindexter." He said he's not hating, he was just pointing something out. Yeah, respect to you, brother. That's why I've always maintained when I hear guys, because a lot of guys, or at least some guys.
A lot of guys don't want to be the boyfriend. They want to be the side dude, because that means you don't got to deal with the emotional bullshit.
Yeah, some guys will try to suggest you need money to attract women for both long-term relationships and casual sex. And I always say for casual sex, that is far from the truth. Because I'm telling you, I've had many women that were willing to open their legs for me casually when I was like next to broke. So money ain't got shit to do with it doesn't have the same pulling power, or it's not the same mandatory requirement that it is for long-term relationships and marriage. I would say most women, not all, but most women do usually require that you have a certain degree of financial stability, certain degree of earning power before they'll even think about becoming your girlfriend, fiance, or wife. So when guys make the argument that you got to have a certain degree of money, for marriage and long-term relationships, they ain't gonna get too much of an argument for me. But for casual sex, that's bullshit, man. You can get casual sex without earning 6-7 figures.
Yeah,
I did it throughout my 20s and 30s. And I ain't talking about no average looking women either. I'm talking about 7, 8s, and 9s.
And professional class women, because a lot of these women, they be dealing with a lot. I'm not gonna say they all do it, but they like to play around with somebody, like, let's call them the Daniels of the world from Insecure. And they do that, like, especially in the sexual empowerment era we're in now. They're more open, about it. But even pre-2010, like in the 2000s, that was going on, because to them it's having fun. Now that women say it openly, talking about being empowered, all that. And that's one of the things back in the argument is because we know the manosphere is really not on law. I'm not saying everybody is against this, but the manosphere is not. When we're having these conversations, we're generally not talking about the path to marriage or the path to long-term relationships. Most of the complaints in this space has to do with sexual access and how women play games with the quote-unquote possibility of sex. It's sex access. They don't play with the possibility of relationships, because dudes in here don't care. So when the argument is made about what you need to get money, it's like, okay, well, I'm arguing, are you talking about sexual access, or you talking about long-term relationships? Because that's not true for sexual access. And I know what we mainly complain about, which is another reason I was getting animated when he was using, because I'm like, no, that's not what he says. But I'm not about to have an argument about what somebody's saying when they right here. I mean, that's dumb to me. So I'm like, he needs to say it himself.
What I would say about sexual access is that, as far as whether a man would have a problem with what I was describing or not, if you're a guy that really doesn't aspire to get married and raise a family, raise children, then quite frankly, you're going to be excited, like you were talking about earlier. You're going to be excited perpetually being just the other, if a woman's in a relationship or married, being her other man, or if she's single, just being her casual fuck buddy. You're not going to have any frustrations about that. But on the flip side, if you are a guy who ultimately does, because I ain't gonna lie, I got to the point I wanted to have children. I always wanted to have children. Even before I developed a genuine desire to get married, I wanted to be a father. So, some of the women I dealt with, like the woman I referred to as Sharon, I genuinely wanted a relationship with her. But so it frustrated me to be just blown off like that. I've had probably a total of 3, no more than 4 women in my adult life that kind of blew me off like that. That I was the one who potentially wanted more, and they were basically like, "No, nigga, I don't look at you like that."
Yeah, dudes today, that would be extremely confusing for most dudes today, even especially dudes. Like, there's actually a video. It's actually interesting. There's a video that I played a long time ago, and it was this black dude. He looked like he's like a basketball player. He had that 6'4", maybe 5 height, and he was very tall compared to the female, the white chick. And he was talking to her, and he was talking about how he was saying he gave her like social status, and she looked at him, and you could tell she liked him because she was really trying to be nice about this. She didn't do what you can't do that today. So, but she had that kind of look, as the look white women have, when they want to tell you the truth and they don't want to hurt your feelings, but they want to tell you the truth. Fuck the political correct shit. I like you, but now it's time to take the political correctness off, and keep it 100. But she said it in a nice way, and he act like he was confused. Now, he wasn't being an asshole about it. He really genuinely believed that she is confused. And then she just spelled it out with him. She was like, so you really think that I increase status with white people if I come somewhere with you? Is that what you're saying? And she said it in a way like, I want to be clear, that's what you're saying before I say what I'm going to say. And it was viral for a second. And then he was like, yes. And he said it like a matter of fact. And I started laughing. I'm like, yeah, you better get checked. And she was like, no. White men who have money and power, you know what, because I'm white, this is who I got to navigate with. I would do a lot better with you not being there than being there. And then he act like he was so hurt. Like she cheated on him. And he was hurt and confused at the same time. And I'm like, how the fuck do you not know this? But then I got to think, a lot of dudes that get sexual, I'm not saying it's like I don't get no sexual access, but I know dudes that they get sexual access easy because of genetic currency. When I say easy, I mean game to them is what not to say to fuck it up, because you pretty much in there. That's what those dudes will define. Those will be them niggas that say, well, just talk to her. Because pre-qualified, and that's fine. But yeah, that can be I would imagine that could be very confusing to people like that, because they don't have to have that type of awareness. And to me, looking at race, it's like, how do you not understand that? But you buy into the hype of, you know, the Kardashians, what sports is saying, what you're seeing in media, and even then, that's not an excuse. But it's a lot of dudes, if they get sexual access, they think everything else comes along with it. That's why dudes covet. That's why that select, non-select thing Ron Will did, like really, dudes couldn't handle it. Because they think if you get sexual access, if you're sexually select, which is what he was really saying, then they thought everything just magically comes with that. They don't understand the concept of a woman separating them they don't understand that. Black men don't understand that. They just
a lot of matter of fact. I'm gonna shamelessly plug one of my books right now, but my most recent book, No Free Attention, which is essentially a rewrite in many ways of my book, Possibility of Sex, which you gave a nice enthusiastic shout out to a few weeks ago. I appreciated that. But one of the things I talk about I included some excerpts from what I call my backstory of how I developed my Mon One philosophy while I was still in college. And yeah, that's when I first understood what you're talking about, is that this woman, she just basically broke down. She was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and her and two of her sorority sisters were picking my brain about why guys want a lot of women and mislead women and emotionally manipulate them to get them in bed instead of just being straight up. And I told her essentially, I said, yeah, most guys are scared of being rejected if they feel like they just propose casual sex straight up. And that's when she broke it down to me. She said, see, Alan, that's because y'all men don't really understand women. And I said, how so? And I admit at this time I was a bit naive. It was around like 1984. And she said, just really simplifying and paraphrasing her words, she basically said, see, us women, we got the same delineations that you guys do. Y'all just don't, most of y'all don't realize that. In other words, we got, just like y'all got women that that y'all look at some as long-term girlfriend material and future wife material, and then other women you look at as just fuck buddy material. She said, we have that same delineation. There's some guys we look at as boyfriend, future husband material. Then there's other guys we look at as just fuck buddy material. And she went on to make the argument that if you're a guy that we look at as fuck buddy material, we don't want you trying to pretend like your boyfriend or husband material, and vice versa. We don't want that. As women, we don't want that. We want y'all to be straight up and say, hey, I just want to fuck. Because you might be that guy that we just want to fuck. And then we eliminate the games, and that contributed to my development of my Mon One approach. Because I agree with, I was like, I don't like playing games. I don't like playing games with bitches. If I want to get, particularly when it comes to casual sex, I want to get casual sex as quickly, easily, and inexpensively as possible, period. In the store. I don't want to deal with hours or days or weeks of engaging in manipulative games. I want to be basically like, hey, I want to fuck you. You want to fuck? And they either basically ultimately say yay or nay. But anyway, I brought that part of my backstory up to support your point that some guys, I can tell just being in the space now for at least going on 5 years, there's some guys, not all guys, not maybe most guys, but there's some guys, they still don't understand they only understand the differences between us and women, and more specifically, black men and black women. But they tend to overlook or underestimate the similarities. And the similarity, again, is that most women, and more specifically black women, they have the same delineations, man. There's some guys, man, they just want to fuck. And so, to your point,
especially black
just
women.
because in other words, just because a guy could get sexual access as a fuck buddy, don't mean he's going to get access as a potential boyfriend or a future husband, and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, the difference now is a lot of these guys, unless they're in the older situation, they don't care. Like, they don't care because they see that as a bad investment. Because shout out to Construction too, for the $20, $19.99. We scroll up. Let's see. Yeah, Construction Consultant. I appreciate that, man. I really do. But yeah, like, dude, that's a bad deal because see, women don't really, because now this is where the women are starting to get dumb. And I'm talking about the millennials, the young, quite frankly, I'll say the millennials as well. This is where they get, all the millennials. This is where they get, as far as like age brackets, this is where they get dumb. They actually believe that being a boyfriend is a good deal. Being a boyfriend is an investment, and it's an and people expect, if you or long-term relationship, if you invest in a female, and then most dudes are not thinking this way like they should, because they're emotional about it, which to a level that they should not be. But it's like you paying for rent that somebody else gets to live in. I mean, Obsidian talks about this. It lives in for free. And women think that makes sense to them. This is why they think they can make certain dudes wait a long time for sex, like a 90-day rule, and because they might genuinely want to put them in the boyfriend category. The problem is women have not squared that that's a bad, all men consider that a bad deal, because most of these women ain't even waiting for sex. Most of these females are fucking other dudes for free during them 90-day rules. And it's not even about needing to stress about it. Like, when people don't understand, because people always say, well, everybody can't do mode 1 and stuff like that. You got to understand, mode 1 is like a frequency. So a lot of people are looking at it from it's not going to work most of the time perspective, where the mindset that you need to have is kind of like sales, or fuck baseball. When you're playing baseball, you're not going to have like a 0.3 batting average is really, really good. But that's 3 out of 10. But you have to have a certain frequency and mindset to understand that. So you can't be thinking from and this is why I always recommend mode 1, even if dudes are not going to do it, because in order to do it, you have to have a certain built-in recoil to rejection. You have to be able to deal with that, and a lot of dudes today can't. This is why I get me too, but the main reason why people don't really approach women like this, the younger generations, also because they want to deal with the fucking DMs and all that bullshit, which is empty calorie gassing these females up. So teaching them, if you can control rejection and control how you feel about rejection, there's really nothing these females could do to you. That's their power.
Wait,
that's
say that again. Power. Say that again.
If you can control how you feel about rejection, you eliminate the power that women really have.
Hey, no, I'll say this: if most guys is going to continue to go over their head. But I literally just talked about this with, I think in my last Patreon exclusive live stream. Man, that's my number 1 secret weapon, man. Some guys try to say, well, Alan, he's gifted with looks, or Alan was gifted with a smooth, seductive mouthpiece. And both of those things are true and valid to a degree. But my biggest strength as it relates to my mode 1 approach, more than any other single thing, is that I learned a long time ago just not to give a fuck about rejection, man. There's a woman that most of my followers are aware of. It's a white woman named Victoria. She has a channel called My Non-Leather Life. And she mentions my book. She highlights the book, and it helped my book sales, honestly, on the side, though. She has, for that video where she mentioned my book, she has 1.5 million views. That's the most YouTube views of any video ever where my book was mentioned, including all my own videos. But anyway, that's the one thing she acknowledges in that video. I can't remember the exact way. She kind of put it in more womanese language. But essentially, she gave guys a tip. She said, I'm going to tell you fellas one of the number one things that turns women on, that most women are not going to publicly admit to, is when they can tell that you just genuinely don't give a fuck if they reject you. If women can sense when a man is afraid of rejection, I tell men that all the time ad nauseum. Women can sense that shit. I give you a couple examples. If you too quick to offer to wine and dine them, like take them out to lunch, take them out to dinner, that tells a woman right there, this guy's scared of getting rejected by me. Why is he offering me a free meal and I don't know this motherfucker? He's scared of being rejected by me. You excessively flattering them and essentially fawning over them. You tell a woman right there, you scared of being rejected. They thinking, why is this dude complimenting the shit out of me? Telling me I'm beautiful like 13 times in a 10-minute span. He's scared of being rejected by me. You got to show a woman that you don't give a fuck. That's my single biggest strength, man. I always have an underlying attitude when I deal with women like, I don't give a fuck if you reject me. I can give a fuck.
And
I got other bitches I can fuck. You ain't the only woman with a vagina on this earth. I can give a fuck.
And make no mistake, I will acknowledge that is easier said than done. That is something you really have to focus. You have to develop, and developing means you have to actually get in there and actually deal. It's kind of like we'll just say, like, I don't want to use it to like a taser, but it's like something that you develop a tolerance for it. Let's say that you can't just like read your way through that, because you got to understand how you emotionally respond to it, and then knowing how to deal with that. So it ain't something you can read your way with. And this is why people are in the DMs. You got whole celebrities that go in people's DMs. They don't even use their entourage. They do that for a reason, yo. And the other thing that I would say is that's why I was also talking about, like, I'm not really big on telling black people, black men to date out, don't date, or don't date black women. I'm not saying all black women are bad, but the reason why I say intercultural dating, interracial dating is because your greatest power is the power of choice. And so when you look at it from a sales perspective, you doing a sales pipeline, if you're doing like direct sales, if you're afraid, if you have like a certain amount of leads and you're upset or you're afraid of, oh, I don't know where I'm gonna get my leads, because you don't know how to generate leads, you don't have a consistent vendor you can go to get more leads sustainably, then you're gonna lean on each and every person you're talking to, and they can sense that. And it's the same thing with women. They can sense that. They can sense if you just trying to close the deal, or if you in kind of leave poverty. And that's why I say that, because black men as a group have ceded their choice. They have given up I'm talking about as a group, given up their ability to choose. Now, part of this is like in the 80s, that's different, like going in the past, because we know there was stuff in place to kind of social stuff, real stuff really in place, even as recent as the 90s and all that. But I'm talking about from 2000 on up, which is millennial time, that's not an excuse. And maybe Obsidian's right in the sense that folks haven't been free long enough yet to really realize that. And you see the Z's kind of acting on that, when the millennials kind of, I can think, that transitional group. So that there may be something to that now that I think about it. But dudes, one of the things I've heard O'Shea and other dudes say whenever they're trying to, even if they're saying something that's in black women's best interest, but they're keeping it 100, they always say, well, I'm attracted to black women. I'm not even attracted by white women. And that's true for some dudes. But a lot of dudes are saying that shit just to make black women feel good. And my thing is, I take the opposite approach. If a chick wants to say what black men are doing, I'm not going to disagree with them, because I'm tired of the back and forth bullshit, because they're going to believe what they want to believe. I'm going to say, well, have you considered dating out? Have you considered like a Hispanic man, a white man? Shit. You got Kamala Harris, Jewish dude, the mayor of San Francisco, white, his Asian dude. Let's like, seriously. And I say it and I mean it, with not giving a fuck. And women always get confused with that, because I'm like, yo, we're not intimidated by these other groups. Now, you can say what you say about black women, but black women ain't never told black men, I dare you go do better than I can. The whole environment is designed to try to shame black men into doing that. Especially the black men that they want, like really want. So they try to, we've already had this spiel, but that's why I say that. I say that because the power of choice is what keeps folks honest. Because if they got to compete because the best dudes are leaving, genetically the best, economically the best, then they gonna have to do that if they see it's a credible threat for folks to leave. But you got these dumb niggas that want to fuck these fat bitches and create some religion around fucking whales and shit. And then it's to the point where the fat women don't even respect you no more. It used to be you get a fat woman, she'd have a great attitude, know how to cook, know how to give head. That's not even true anymore as much as it used to be. Now they talking like they ate them damn selves. Thank you, Lizzo. Anyway.
Well, I got to bounce, but quick on that. That was valid when somebody brought that up on Bernard's. I can't remember who it was. It might have been you, but if not you, somebody said nowadays, even the fat women treat themselves like they're, beautiful eights and stuff.
I think that was JB.
And the simple reason is because, well, you already said it. You see, there's a lot of, I learned when I was still in high school, man, there's a lot of brothers, man. Now I'm older. I was going to say older brothers. They like, man, I tell this quick lighthearted story. I was working for the beach in Gary, Indiana. And you had to pay like $1 to park. And this one older brother, he comes in and he said, man, young brother, I ain't got no money, man, but I got a 6-pack of beer I'll give you. I said, man, I don't really drink beer, so I don't. He said, oh, come on, man. Let me in, just park, man. I ain't got no cash on me. And so we're going back. So while we're going back and forth, first this slender beauty walks by. And I look at her, I said, oh shit, damn, she fine. I'd love to hit that. And the older brother started, he was like, oh, hell no. I was like, what? Are you serious? I said, that sister right there fine in the motherfucker. He like, no, too skinny. And she wasn't skinny. If I can show you a picture of this woman, she was well put together. She was, average weight, nice proportion body. But this older brother, who was probably at the time in his mid-40s, he was like, nope, too skinny. She ain't got no meat on the bones. Then about 5 minutes later, this big old woman, I mean, like what I would call borderline obese, starts walking by. And his older brother's like, oh, now that's what I'm talking about right now. Now that's what I'm talking about right now.
You know why? You know why? Because a lot of dudes tend to get imprinted or psychologically imprinted by women they've been shown to have sexual access to. And so a lot of these, that's why it's always, I'm not saying it's always this way, but it's mostly this way. A lot of times it's broke niggas they can come up off some of these fat chicks because a lot of you get in. It's just like when dudes start dating women of other races and they seem like that's their preference because that other group has demonstrated that's their niche. They have access to it. That's what a lot of them indirect dating coach. I'm not trying to talk shit, but a lot of them be bullshitting because if you look at them, they tend to date certain women, and those are the women that tend to gravitate to them. And that's another thing about that select non-select thing that folks missed is that sometimes you select to certain women, but not to others. So they missed that.
I agree with that. All right, Brother Anderson, I gotta help my son get his Saturday bath on, but I appreciate you letting me come up and express some thoughts and chop it up with you. And I don't know who this is, but whoever it is, hello, respect to you. And enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the rest of your discussion.
Absolutely appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. Take care. Yeah, so that was good. That was a good treat. Y'all got some game information. Y'all got to see, how my mind works. And I'm glad because, he may not want to come up here, but I was just, and like I said, I said what I said to Obsidian and I mean what I say. So we're just having another discussion with that. But what's up, Constructive Consultant? I appreciate the $20 super chats.
What's going on, Ed? What's going on, Ed? Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm coming in loud and clear. A couple of things, man. So I did hear you and excuse the sound. I did hear you and Silence rebuttals to Obsidian, and I appreciate that because you guys are basically rebutting it with the same points that I think I thought was important to the discussion. I think because I commented in your chat, I think one of the things that gets some of the things that he was saying were very Gen X. I hate to divide it in generation, but some of
No,
them
to
were
your
dated.
credit, I did say that some of the stuff, some of the differences were generationally. Some of the differences I saw was coming from generational. So
Right.
go ahead. So I did say that, but go ahead. So yeah, you
And
cool.
one of the things I wanted to drill down on was this whole thing where the point with this good girl that guys are just expecting just this. Well, it was a couple of different things. First, I was hearing a point about there's these section of or subset of homely good girls that supposedly are not getting sexual access in the 21st century, right? That I'm presuming are marriage age. Am I getting that right? That are like basically millennials.
That's his rhetoric. Yeah, I mean they're getting. I mean black men are fuck like it ain't
I
black
almost
like.
wanted to laugh.
Well, when he says homely good girls, okay, you got to read it. So Asinian, the way he tries to talk about good girls is they college educated. So it's almost like he's talking about 92s that don't make the cut looks wise. These are typically BGS has talked about that. These are going to be the ones that typically are bitching the most about colorism and shit. You know, because these guys have a certain criteria of what they want because of, you know, the culture there. So, yeah.
I man,
So
listen,
usually they make good amount of money and they're educated is what he's talking about.
right. And I've been on just quick reference. I've been on Roger's panel and I've given some of my historiography of me being, was married and everything like that. My wife she was black, millennial too. She coming from a PWI college institution, AKA, all that, right? Now, I'm not from that background, but I guess if you want to call that, I guess, middle to upper crust or whatever, however you want to call it, like the show that's coming out now, like the book of Our Kind of People, which I think is going to be interesting, their take, because it looks like it's going to be totally different departure. But man, I'm like all these girls, her friends, this is AKA just had ARC on the panel, man. They were getting it in. Like, I don't know where all these were quote unquote good girls, high end sorority type.
Well, were they attractive? Because when he say homely, he means they're not attractive.
Man,
like homely, like let's say Issa Rae, they would be less attractive than Issa Rae.
Okay, Lisa Rae is like a 6 in my opinion.
Issa, ISA.
Issa
from Insecure, not Lisa Rae, Insecure. Okay, so that's okay. Yeah,
Issa
so
Rae.
they would be lower than her.
Right.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so you got to kind of know what he means to parse it. And I'm trying to be fair, because trust me, there's a lot of stuff I don't agree on, but I want to be fair on where the disagreement's on, because I don't want to get and the reason I'm doing this on purpose, because I don't want to be mired down in the. I didn't do a whole video about Trey doing that for me to turn around and do that. And so some of y'all in the chat, it's like y'all want y'all red meat. And it's like, dude, I want to really show the bullshit, because a lot of that is, okay, here's my thing. And I get what a lot of people are saying because they're frustrated. But again, I know I'm in the right. So I don't need to, whatever. The thing is, I'm not for these fucking bullshit ass narratives to create illusions that like we're just one conversation away of coming together. I don't like when it's, we just create this idea that black men got just as much to work on as black women. The reality is black men are much more content where things are as far as the dating choices than black women are. Black men are not complaining for a variety of reasons. Some better, some not. But her face is 7.7. I don't know if y'all talk about Issa Rae. Y'all might be talking about Lisa Rae. The reality is when you understand that there's other groups of women, because sometimes black men are not culturally compatible with a lot of black women. It has nothing to do with looks. They calling you a square and calling you all of that. then you may automatically be kind of seen as a bad boy because you're taboo or novelty just because you're black in America, depending on what group you're dealing with. This is why a lot of these other groups of black men, younger black men, are gravitating to other people. But we want to have this conversation about black men only being with black women, and the argument Obsidian makes is, well, because as of right now, the stats show that black men are mainly dealing with black women.
Right, and so the
that's
point
bullshit.
I was trying. Right. And the point I was trying to make was, and I see people's comments in the chat, they don't really get the context of why I listed all those things off. They're just saying stuff like they're the biggest freaks. They don't.
We're talking about Issa Rae, not Lisa Rae. Issa, not the light skinned chick. Oh, okay. No, I'm talking about point that. Okay, I get what he's saying. No, I'm talking to the chat. Go ahead.
Okay. But I see a lot of people misconstruing in the chat, and it's like y'all don't get it. We're what you were listing off with Obsidian, these are qualifiers. They don't even in this chat, they got to understand the context. These when we're using those certain social cues, those are qualifiers.
You're dealing with a max of 10. Like, let's be clear here. At best, you're dealing with 10% of black women, and the truth is, it's not even that much. You're really dealing with about 8 or 7% of black women that are in the ballpark. Like the Kamala Harris types. You're really because even the most black women are making money, they're gonna go on what they're sexually attracted to above everything else. All that money bullshit is cap. And just like Alan said, he said a lot of black women want to keep preserve their standards for a boyfriend for security, but they're not giving anything up. They're not giving exclusivity. They're still fucking the dudes that they're sexually attracted to. And that shit is more pronounced now than it ever has been with that secure the bag bullshit. They see the dudes that are the boyfriend as the trick. Shout out to Jada Black. Shout out to Steph Cole, and shout out to others. They're always talking about videos of dudes getting their phone and wilding out because or whatever they say, because these women are still fucking. And I'm not saying that's all, but this stuff is increasing where boyfriends are just tricks at this point, the way these women see them. And they're just fleecing them, and then they're finessing them as much as they can. And I even hate that term finesse because it makes something that's very insidious sound a lot better. So, and again, you got to also understand that a lot of what Obsidian is talking about is not really for the 35 and under crowd. It's really for the 35 and up crowd. It's really, or 36 and up, 35 and up crowd. So he's dealing with women that they're like 40, 38, not women that are like, early 20s, mid 20s, probably early 30s. So you have to kind of understand, if you've listened to him long enough, like where he's coming from with that. But even with that being said, a lot of what he was saying was disingenuous. He will try to take a conversation and like literally drag it. He's like, if you saw the episode of What If, he's kind of like Doctor Strange when Doctor Strange destroyed the universe. He will literally go against certain things to drag something so he can kind of terraform a conversation and meet what he's talking about. And sometimes he's more successful than others, but in this time, it's very obvious that's what he was doing. That's why he don't be wanting people to really get their points out. He tries to kind of force square pegs into round holes, and it doesn't work. Because people get frustrated with that because it's like, you're not talking to stupid people. Go ahead.
And then the other thing was that he tried to shoehorn in is this whole thing. The women do it. They use this argument that all the guys want all these Instagram models. And again,
that's
big shouts out. Yeah, big shouts out to Silent, because Silent spoke on that. I'm mostly associated with older millennials to Gen Xers, maybe even some baby boomers, and that's not true. Most of the women that they end up selling with or making I'm talking about not they playthings, as Alan was talking about, as Alan ARC was talking about, they settled down with basically it was 1-to-1. It was average. These are average black women for their social standing. They were average, and for the most part, the women were they was on that. Basically, they were all on one accord. They all had that Borg hive mind as you talk about. They all had it.
Yeah, black men don't have the same kind of appetite for think of what he said with the ugly chick. The chick that he said was gorgeous with the chick. Black men are going to be imprinted psychologically. There's a difference between physical imprint and psychological imprint. Black men tend to gravitate towards women that they can get sexual access to. They get programmed that way. That's why I said it's a mental illness when a lot of these niggas are fucking these fat bitches and they're coming to me, because I know it's predicated on a certain environment. Because if you put them in situations where they can get sexual access to women that got like ass and titties but don't got no stomach along with it, they're gonna gravitate towards that. That's why niggas go overseas and start crying when they gotta come back. A lot of these dudes, though, if it's in the environment that they're in, it's the water they're swimming in, so they're arguing about what they always know. And Obsidian actually goes against the grain, and he said it himself. Most of the time, men accept that shit to a like in Philly. Obsidian actually goes against that by not accepting it. So the thing is, you can't then make the argument to saying dudes have the same problem where dudes are trying to give women, because then you can blame dudes for why all these women are getting BBLs and shit. You can blame dudes for a lot of shit if you accept that premise. And I know he don't believe that. That's some shit that's designed for the bitches, because it gives the bitches hope. And even though this nigga always talking shit about us, including his last video, and it gets on my motherfucking nerves, it really does. But I'm going to tell the truth where the truth need to be told. Jason Black actually has his finger is much more on the ball on these types of conversations, because he'll acknowledge, the dudes that don't produce and are not really on their way of producing or doing nothing. And you talk about pipe dreams and shit. He'll acknowledge that, but at the same time, he's much better at really acknowledging the bullshit the women do and how that fucks their own shit up. Because even it was a call that was on his recent video on the business where a mother called in for her 24-year-old daughter, and her daughter is going to have a law degree or going for a law degree. She already has graduated, so now she's going for a law degree, and she's dealing with a dude that made $18 an hour as a forklift driver. This is in Chicago. And she, two-parent household, they came up in, although she dealt with a stepdaddy and adopted. But it was a good situation. But he was able to home in on it. The son wanted to be a producer and the daughter wants to be a law degree. So what she said is she's replicating what she would learn in the household, because as reflected by the son wanting to be a producer, yet she has these ambitions. She's picking the type of dude that was seen as acceptable in that household. And the woman tried to push back on that, but she had to relent on that because she the one that gave her the information for her son. So my thing is with Obsidian a lot of times tries to do, he tries to create a conversation that women can buy into. So therefore, and like I said, Obsidian is one of those guys that if you have him in front of Derek Jackson, Stefan Lamini, and all of them, he's going to be probably a good dude to have in those conversations, because that's when he's going to argue against that, because they're so far on that side. And so I try to let that go and be like, he's put a lot of work into this stuff and, accept the growth, and kudos for him. But I'm not going to let him do that shit while I'm on the fucking panel. I'm just not. I'm going to call it out to what the points are. And I'm like, dude, I know the shit you saying you don't believe. I don't even know why. It got to the point where in the chat, they was saying he was trolling. Like, if Jackson said that, yeah, they was like he was trolling. They don't even take him serious. And Obsidian don't really troll like that. But go ahead.
Yeah, and the other part of it is that I wonder about, and some people have brought this up, is that I don't know how. Again, I was once married, man. I'm a millennial. However you want to look at that, and I'm out here again, and so I'm like, do these guys even know it's changed even for me, even since the 2010s?
Oh yeah,
and I think you even acknowledged that it's kind of, the environment's kind of terraformed again. Hell, even since 2013, 2014, 2020.
Oh yeah, it's completely changed. Like these, because if you want to see the difference, just look at like Danica Marie versus a lot of these females out here today. Because Danica Marie is called a pick-me, but she's really saying y'all game goofy. Y'all don't know how to create a presentation to get what you want. And this is where you talk about these good girls that are hoes behind the scenes. Women are not like that. Women want you to accept them as a hoe. They're presenting stuff that they're presenting stuff like, and then folks had a nerve. But like, this is why I laugh when black men get mad at people like Ramil when they talk about pump and dump. Because I'm like, this is what these bitches, that's what they're advertising there for. And this argument even came up when E Black was talking about Amber Rose. I'm like, Amber Rose is a whore. Amber Rose was a whore at 16 years old. Any bitch that goes into I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about what your situation is. I don't. And I'm gonna tell you, I do know female in America, because I do know females that they did the stuff in the Philippines, like call it what you want, bar girls. It was like sex work and shit, and they ended up getting into the United States. I literally know females where I got their Instagram, and them bitches were in Chicago, and the white man caught them up. I know that. So I know a couple of situations like that. But the reality is, if you saying in the Amber Rose, because Amber Rose looked good, because she's so, first of all, Amber Rose was attractive, but she ain't the type of bitch. It's like you gonna give everything up for her. If you're doing that, then nigga, you don't really have that many options. You don't. Because you're really saying I'm just gonna go all in for Amber Rose. I'm not saying she's not attractive, but goddamn, Amber Rose ain't irreplaceable. Bitches like that, when they have kids and shit, if they don't stay in shape, they get fat real quick. Because remember, she looked like that before she had kids. And that's what a lot of dudes don't calculate. See, they be judging these skinny chicks. And this is why I said I know a lot of well, not a lot. That's not true. I know a good amount of black women that they're built a certain type of way, and they date all guys. But then you'll see them with white guys. It's because white guys like that body type more. They built more on the faces. Built more on faces, and their body is not. It's not that they skinny as sticks, but you know how niggas are. And so they go with what their best options are. And so when I say that go date out, I don't mean that shit maliciously. I'm saying prove it. Stop saying what niggas ain't doing and do that. And those are women interracially date, but I wouldn't consider swirlers, because they will date black dudes. And a lot of white dudes get confused because they think if a black man dates a black girl dates them, that means that's not always the case. And a lot anyway. Shout out to Michael Matroke, the 4.99 likes are free. I appreciate that. And then Gabe, they talk about pump and dump is lame. Understand something. Pump and dump is a response. If women are going to show up like whores, they are to be treated like whores. You are not going to turn a hoe into a housewife. You're not. And to the extent that people want to talk about, well, higher class women, you know, they were hoeing it up. They made a choice based on the path they wanted to go to calm that shit down. That's a choice, but that's a choice they made. That's not a choice they found the right guy. They found the right guy to reflect what they were on at that time. And right. you notice how like one of the things that was said on there, all of them admitted that there's deception in that. None of these women are outwardly admitting like what they're on until very, very recently. Go ahead.
I mean, like, and again, it comes with being in a dating market. Okay. And so with that, and I guess that's adjacent to the other point with the body count thing. And I'm just thinking, like, if you grew up in our era, I was born in '89. You know,
I was born in '86.
Right. If you grew up in our era, we're smack dab in the crack era, everything like that. So we're used to our peers having, you know, the different fathers, girls getting trains ran on them when we were in high school and middle
situations.
School.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like now, Ed, I will say this. I'm not saying that it's necessarily good that that threshold for us and that bar for us is not, we don't really see it that way like Gen Xers do. But I will say this, we're not like that. We get painted with that broad brush that we're just these angry guys in the manosphere that don't know women, don't understand that women got this other nature about all this old
that's their narrative story. And E-Black is a perfect example of that shit that buys into that dumb shit.
Like, you know how many, bro, we're old enough. We saw the precursors, some of our friends' mamas and sisters. And
we got younger brothers.
Right. We saw the precursor to Amber Rose. But some of these broads, like I said, some of our peers' mamas was like that. So what is it that we don't understand about that, or that makes us so goddamn afraid? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, bro, like, where are you, like, that argument to me, it just does not hold up.
Well, it's dudes have to have their own narrative stories and coping mechanisms, like people that they need to believe in white supremacy to make an excuse for why they ain't shit. Gabe, nobody never said that pump and dump was a cure. Pump and dump is a response. I never said pump and dump was a cure. The reality is dudes don't need to be wifing up or investing in females that are not worth investing in. So while you build your money and do what you need to do, you play with the women that are out there. Other groups understand this. black men are the only ones that are trying to really take hoes and make them housewives and really believe they can do it. At least white boys, if they pull that shit, they understand that they're cucking themselves and they go with it. They run with it. Black men actually believe. That's why when dudes think because they fucking, that's why they don't understand the same bitch they fucking, the same bitch that put on child support. Bitches to put on child support before the kid even born. Don't even get a dude a chance. Well, you know, like I said, Obsidian has a right to do what he wants to do, but I'm still gonna call stuff out what I'm gonna call it. The difference is y'all want to sit there and like flog them, and I'm just gonna speak to the points and because that's what I do, analyzing the points. But like I said, Gabe, because Gabe think because it ain't a cure. Well, marrying these bitches ain't a cure either. So what do you like? What are you saying? What these niggas are not supposed to fuck because everybody want to be a hoe? You know, my
I
thing.
think.
You know,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's because that's the thing. That's what's implied. What's implied is because you saying don't do this, you're implying do what the opposite is. But anyway, I'm gonna get your final thoughts, and then we're gonna because I want to go through this other track real quick. And actually, with you saying like jumping on a manosphere, you can stay on. But we're gonna go through this little video that I uploaded that was 1 minute long. I really should end this stream and restart it, but I'm not gonna do that shit. But so what's your final thoughts on this?
My final thoughts is that the landscape has changed, and I didn't even realize that how much more so the environment does. Has been speaking on this,
Mm-hmm.
that the environment does dictate a lot more so than even we think as far as the women goes. Even more so than I think we even like to admit, even myself. And I think we really have to. It's a balancing act. We really have to look at that and put that in its proper context, as well as the things that we see going on in our own little subculture.
Yeah, well, dudes think they can alpha their way through everything, and as an individual, you might be able to do that to a certain extent. But you're dealing with an environment where R. Kelly got put guilty. Shout out to David Carroll for doing videos on that. And he said he's a sexual deviant. He's a sexual deviant. I'm not saying that, but the level of hypocrisy that the black community displayed with the R. Kelly situation. David Carroll brought up how you got pastors like Bishop Eddie Long and a lot of these other pastors that they got caught doing shit. They get made kings and shit. You know, literally they made him a king, Bishop Eddie Long. The deviancy that goes on in the black church and other sectors that black women particularly let go. The fact that R. Kelly became a megastar because of black women single-handedly, you know, when, you know, like people are bullshitting. The fact that Nicki Minaj still has a career with who she married, with what her brother did to a black girl. I mean, this is why I don't want to have what fucking little girls go through when people bring it up, because I'm like, y'all don't really give a fuck. So don't I'm not the person to cry on that shit. I'm not, because until the black, you know, and we know where that shit comes from as far as who allows that shit to go down. So that's that. So I'm gonna bring up this video real quick. Let me see. So this is for those of y'all that don't know. This is the video. And speaking of like the manosphere always getting told that, you know, we hollering and shit. This is a video that I shared. A lot of y'all have seen it. I'm sure y'all seen it multiple times because the views are really going up on that one. But this is for TikTok. It's actually it's really good. It's really good. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna play this a couple of times, and I'm gonna go down each point. But what I'm also gonna do is we're gonna have some fun and explore the comments, because it's 15,000 comments strong, and yeah, I know Gabe talked about, as a man, I feel like seeking a solution and dwelling on a problem. I've already said what the solution is. The solution is embracing the power of choice based on what you want to do: interracial dating, intercultural dating. That's the solution. That's the solution. The solution is not trying to change a bitch that don't want to change. That's dumb. You deal with these women the way they show you. That's the solution. So if they show you that they want to be fucked, you fuck them. They show you they're worthy of an actual relationship, then, you know, you meet them there. I'm not for men turning out women that are bright-eyed and actually act right. That's not what I'm for. But if a chick is already a 304, I mean, it's like rent a car. I mean, that's what it's for. I don't understand what people don't fucking get. And niggas be feeling guilty about that shit. And I'm like, fuck your guilt. And a lot of these niggas be not gay, but a lot of these motherfuckers be feeling guilty because they did that shit. And now they feel bad because they got a little girl looking back at them. And now they feel some type of way. I don't give a fuck about that shit. I really don't. Like, y'all keep that shit to yourself. That's my personal thing with that. Anyway, let's change up the background. And I know niggas are mad. Niggas are soft. Like B, I fuck with you, B. I mean, but, you know. I gotta stand on what I gotta stand on. I know y'all want to be mad and say fuck me, I'm a bitch ass nigga. Fine, I'll be that. I'm standing on what the fuck I'm standing on. I will be that. Anyway, so have you seen this yet? Have you seen this yet?
Oh, have
This
I seen that video? Yeah, I seen it, man. It was crazy.
Okay, so all right, so let me play it for everybody so we can all get caught up to speed. Oh, the comments are good. Comments are good. Let's go.
Can somebody explain to me exactly what black women did to make damn near every race, even a lot of our own black men, hate us?
Sure can took advantage of government assistance. Kicked us out of the house. Joined the feminist train and demonized your men. Allowed billions of dollars every year to exit our community on fake aesthetics of beauty. Praised and joined homosexual men while demonizing heterosexual men that assert themselves. Took our children away from us and used them as bargaining chips to further financially disenfranchise us. Used sex as a weapon in our intimate relationships to get what you want. Became the only women in the world to tell the world that they don't need their men. Perpetuated the trope that black women are the backbone of black communities, which directly implies that black men have no spine and are useless. Continually pushing the narrative that black women are the winners of the oppression Olympics while not having any metric of which they are treated worse than black men. Allowed their weight to slip such that sexual attraction is diminished. Hot girl summer. Engaged heavily in prostitution, legal sex work, OnlyFans, etc., and then demanded that your men protect and respect you. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I can make a part 2.
I wish somebody, like, they were mad about that. That last one really got them mad. I know the weight one is a small one, but that last one really got him. I'm glad the nigga got dreads. I'm glad he got the prototype, so that way they can't just, oh, he this, he that. But let's go through these things. Well, first of all, let's start with the beginning. So she got the kid sound, which that's her kid, and she got the blonde hair. And she got the blonde hair.
To make every
and I mean, she got the whole
race,
blonde hair package.
even
I ain't trying to roast. We just trying to system, but goddamn,
a lot of our own black men hate us.
So let's go through this one by one.
Sure can took advantage of government assistance.
Okay, so because some of them were outright saying these are lies. So before we go through it, what did you think about the video when you first saw it? What was your reaction?
Man, you know what shocked me a lot, man, was he had the whole pro-black like aesthetic, and I was like, I think that was my brain just wasn't computing because we used to these guys coming to the manosphere and you know dying on the hill, you know what I mean? And then the other thing is I wanted to see the comments up under the video. Because
we're gonna go through that. We're gonna go through that because it's 15,000. Okay. I want to go through. Okay. I want to really harp on some of these before we do that. But it's like 15, and usually the way the comments go is just like 200 like replies on the certain threads. And to be fair, there are like out of let's say 10 black women, probably like three out of 10 actually agree with the video that are black. So I want to be very clear about that. And even in some of the duets, out of like 20 of them, there was probably like 3 that did agree. Now, 2 of those are black women, 1 was a white woman, to be fair. So we're going to go through. I'm going to play it one more time. We're going to go through each one because I see some new people coming in. So let's play it since I got Zab in here. Zabby pulling out pro-black sword, which is fine. But y'all got to remember, I'm a pro-black too. So that shit, yeah, but let's go.
Can somebody explain to me exactly what black women did to make damn near every race, even a lot of our own black men, hate us?
Sure can took advantage of government assistance. Kicked us out of the house. Joined the feminist train and demonized your men. Allowed billions of dollars every year to exit our community on fake aesthetics of beauty. Praised and joined homosexual men while demonizing heterosexual men that assert themselves. Took our children away from us and used them as bargaining chips to further financially disenfranchise us. Used sex as a weapon in our intimate relationships to get what you want. Became the only women in the world to tell the world that they don't need their men. Perpetuated the trope that black women are the backbone of black communities, which directly implies that black men have no spine and are useless. Continually pushing the narrative that black women are the winners of the oppression Olympics while not having any metric of which they are treated worse than black men. Allowed their weight to slip such that sexual attraction is diminished. Hot girl summer. Engaged heavily in prostitution, legal sex work, OnlyFans, etc., and then demanded that your men protect and respect you. This is just a tip of the
First of all, there's being pro-black and being pro-bitch. And see, y'all know what all these are. All of these are facts. Like the ones, like the weight is all of them are valid. Some of them are more valid than others. I'd probably say the one that really jumped out to me that I haven't heard framed the way it was framed, even though it's absolutely true, is when you say it's saying that black women are the backbone of the black community, implying that black men are spineless and useless. And that just goes to show you how deep the programming is, because a lot of black women don't think they're doing anything bad when they do that. But in reality, you don't ever see other women say that shit ever. So, and yeah, you said 3 out of 10, 3 out of 20 is horrible numbers. You're right, it is horrible numbers, but that's where we are. So anyway, let's pull that down. And then we're gonna, let me see, try to bring this bullshit up. We'll remove that from the studio. Share. We're gonna have some fun. TikTok going down on the top. Let's see. Bring this up. So let's see. Boy, it be motherfuckers be having like 14 million subscribers on TikTok, yo. Okay, so here's where we are.
Explain to me exactly what black women did to make every damn near.
Somebody must have said some shit that really affected her ass for her to be had got this shit really thinking about life and shit. Bitch, you all ain't shit. And this dude channel ain't even that, because this ain't his channel. He got this video from somewhere. I might message him and say he hashtag Black Women Appreciation. Boy, that motherfucker. Anyway, for those of y'all, if y'all want the direct link, here's a direct link. And I'll share the direct link in the private. So let's go through some of these comments, y'all. Let's go through some of these comments. Let me see if I can pull this up. Shit. Let's see if I can
explain to me exactly what black women did.
No, I'm gonna have to
make damn near every race, even a lot of our.
And they want to hold on to the fact that she said hate, and then he basically agreed with that. No, that's not what he really did. Come on.
Can somebody explain to me exactly?
Sorry, this is a different interface.
What black women did to make damn near every race.
Damn, man, this is really, come on, man. Don't be, oh, God. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit better. This is going to be hard for me to go through, but I'm going to go through it. All right, give me a second. Let me move all this unnecessary crap so I can focus this. Gotta maximize my screen. Okay. All right, so let's go through some of these comments. Yeah, some of these got 431, 32. I'm going to go through some of the comments. What I should do, we know black women going to be triggered. So, well, let's go through a couple of these and see. So anyway, y'all black women need to stop letting these type of black men fuck with your mind. He doesn't speak for all black men or the actions of black women. He don't, because most people don't really know what's going on. Dude said, let's not mention the attitude. Then they look at us weird when we are with Latina or white women. Why is she mad? So very sad. But like LaShawn says, this is very much true. It is true. Let's see. What I may have to do is go through some of the greatest hits and then do another video on this. I'm a black woman, and I can admit to everything you said was true. I'm happy black men are voicing their truth. So like I said, there are some sisters that are you know, admitting it. Became the only woman in the world to say don't need no their man. That really stuck out to me. Yeah, it is true. Somebody give this man a world record for spitting the most facts and say that's true. It all started with accepting government assistance that mandated. Yeah, he's not lying. Y'all ain't ready for that convo. Love how the woman made generalized question. Everything. Let's see. This is G Spears. Oh, this is a dude. Everything this clown is saying can be reversed and applied to black men. It is not black women who should be blamed for our situation. What do you think about that statement? Construction.
About the what was the state? Restate
He
that.
said
It is not black
everything
men.
this
What?
clown is saying can be reversed and applied to black men. It's not black women who should be blamed on our situation.
He brought up. I mean, some of that stuff was gender specific. The beauty supply,
like black men. Yeah, black men.
I don't know how you
go
can
ahead.
put that on black men.
Yeah, that's just.
I don't understand. He put that on black men. That's just he's just parroting. He's projecting.
Joshua says that's literally cap. Using literally doesn't make what you say a fact. Prove that it's literally cap. Only simp manginas would disagree. He said only simp manginas would disagree. Oh, he's talking about him. I hear no lies. Black women tend to use black men, but somehow grow sense when they date outside their race. And that's a woman saying that. Oof, it's a goddamn attitude for me. Okay, yeah, so that we'll see. How can a woman kick out a man if a man was able to provide and care for the home? It happens all the time. Like, why are you asking that dumbass question? If she had to go on welfare, they were both poor, then the laws of welfare kicked the man out. No, but because other groups have access to welfare. And also, like, see, this is the women that they ask these disingenuous questions. The one thing I like, because they'll ask these dumbass questions, and when you answer it, they'll hit you with endless questions. As first of all, why are you picking a man that is going to put you on welfare to start with? And why are women still doing that till this day? And then turn around talking about, I need to get the bag. I'm tired of, being a down ass chick. Because it wasn't about that. It was really about your sexual attraction over your security. But then they'll call that being loyal. You see, one day black people will see putting one another down does nothing but make YouTube folk happy. Whatever. Your truth is your truth. No, that's bullshit. That's, oh my God, man. These dumb bitches, man. I hate when black women say that shit. My truth. Bitch, there's no such thing as your truth. I don't know where you get that from. Like, who the fuck taught these females that shit? My truth.
Well, the bad thing is, Ed, I notice now we got black men that say that mess.
Yeah, because black men are emotionally led by black women. Even that pick me shit. And I told them, y'all realize, when black women call other black women pick me's, they're calling them nigger lovers. You do realize that when they say it. Niggas be talking about pick me. So I'm like, what bitch do you? Show me a female that this pick me bullshit. Where does that really exist for black men? Like, who the fuck knows a bitch that's really like that? Because these women women are not gonna turn on the sisterhood for their a man. Not like that. Anyway, what type of women are you guys picking to do all this stuff? Yeah, because this is just a myth, right? That's another bullshit that's a disingenuous question.
I don't know why they always say that. That it's they know it's like a troll. I've had it's a troll response, and it's like some of them even know the women that you've made it with, and it's like, and they're associates. It's like, how you gonna ask me that? How you gonna ask him that? You know the woman in a lot of situations. So you're saying what does that say about it? It's crazy. It's a gaslighting.
Yeah, so when you look at actually, and I should have put that on my whiteboard, all the stuff that was being said, but when you actually look at what he was saying, you look at government assistance, you look at the aesthetics and all of that, these are most black women. So it's like you say that, but the argument is supposed, like even in this conversation with Bernard, that's said, but the argument is you weak if you don't date black women. So it's always premised on you only dating black women. And it's like, and then now, and like when Obsidian started to make the argument that black men accept this shit, black men accept this shit because they don't know no better. That's really what the truth is. It's really a form. It's like a woman accepting getting their ass whooped by a dude. People would never accept that she just accepts that. They wouldn't accept that. They wouldn't. They would say it's got to be something, and it's like it's that bullshit. But anyway, let's see. BS cap. Sit down in the back somewhere. Y'all let one city girl break your heart, so now all black women are the same. Yeah, and that's a projection black women do. And black women are big to try to say that they don't do what the fuck they do because their heart is broken, even though that's exactly why they're doing what they do. Black men don't do they really want to believe in that narrative story that black men are just getting their heart broken and just start angry and venting. That's bullshit. That's not, I don't even know why, like, that's not helping black women saying that. Black men love to take no responsibility. This type of thinking will get us nowhere. Be accountable. This is BS. I mean, like, everything he said was absolute facts. Like, where is he wrong? That's just another way. That's that put down bullshit. Nobody, you notice how none of them are actually, they're either agreeing with it, but they never actually directly say that any of this stuff is incorrect. You notice how none of that, they'll say, notice none of them are saying that?
Because they can't refute any of the data or any of the facts. The same thing happened in these spaces when they want to engage us. They cannot refute a lot of the arguments and things that we're talking about, that we're putting forth. So they have to ask those questions.
Yeah, shout out to TJ17. Great stream, Ed. If the argument of not holding black women accountable is made, that should be Morse code for pumping up. Absolutely. You hold women accountable by not picking them. You know, if it gets to the point where this amount, a level of bullshit, you use your choices to hold them accountable. But see, they don't want you to do that. It's Manny, baby. All of the issues he listed come from systematic racism and from living in a capitalist society. So, bitch, are you a communist? Like, you got weave. So clearly you're in a capital. Like, it's black women are literally the most consumeristic of any group, men or female. But they talk about capitalist society.
Well, Ed, if you're in you know, I'm subscribed to Jason Black, and well, not anymore, but anyway, I used to listen to.
This ain't no wrong with being subscribed to Jason Black. I can call out his bullshit when he says with us and still say it's good information.
The problem,
I mean, I'm not. I just know I can
like
type in Jason Black, but go ahead.
Right. It just becomes when Jason. The problem is that his attacks or come off so damn near so personal, not personal, but like it's hard to describe. And the question becomes, and I've supported, don't mind you, I've supported him on some of his endeavors. So he has got certain stuff done. I've supported him in that. I'm talking about financially. And it's like, bro, we gotta have a conversation. Either we gotta have you're gonna like Farrakhan used to talk like that to brothers. Still does. But we know who he is. We can see his life. You see what I'm saying? We can see his organization, we can see his life. But whatever your problems, aside with, you know, recent live streams with some of the little brothers who are in our organization or in the nation, whatever your little problems with them and our talking points in the space, in the manosphere space, we can see the results. And we know who he is. The problem is that Jason will make he kind of does the whole thing where he makes these arguments, and he tries to pin some of these arguments on the whole of the black manosphere from the white manosphere and say that we're just following them.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just problematic.
The way you deal with that, the power move to deal with that is just to outbuild it. That's how you deal with that, you know, because going back, I acknowledge certain things, like because, you know, people know I've promoted him so much on my channel, but other than that, because at the end of the day, he can't stop what the fuck folks are doing. And that's the ultimate power move. And as you see, you see more people crossing that 100K yard line. You know, Bernard just got 8K today. You know, I've gotten quite a few subscribers with that upload. So it's definitely gonna motivate me to start doing more uploads. So, you know, and let's see. Society, none of this specific, like he said, capitalist society, none of it is specific to black women, but y'all go off. I mean, like literally everything of what he said was specific to black women. That's like, y'all, that's just an emotional argument that you're making. Like, she's saying this and she's got weave in her hair. Nobody else is buying weave like that but black women. I'm talking about like add to the percentage of money that comes out of their community. The welfare, all of that shit. Like, what are you talking about? But again, it's becomes to say anything. And then they banned his, oh, he's being funny. Mike dropped these statements. And a lot of dudes agree with this shit. What he didn't say is you as black men help usher in these issues by not being providers, telling your women they wasn't worthy in their natural state. Black men, number one, the weave shit, that was never, black men never did that. Because black men never had access to non-black women like that. You know, it's black women that invented different ways to perm their fucking hair and weave and shit. So that's a lie. The thing about black men are not providers, that's actually also a lie. Monahan showed that because when black men started making more money, black women started going for more welfare. So that's not true. And that's also not true when you look at who black women are actually having children with and been having children with for a while. So that's actually a lie. That's actually a lie. But that's some shit that you say because a lot of these arguments are coping mechanisms. Dukes Derek says this dude needs help. A bunch of generalities and incomplete facts. Are you fucking serious? I'm curious of what they're going to say. Name one incomplete fact. 2, literally everything he says can be flipped directly to black men. Oh my God. You can't flip government assistance on men. Yes, the fuck you can. Food stamp, Section 8, loans, etc. Oh my God. So you just go do the flat earther bullshit, right? What exactly? I didn't hear one thing applied to men. Everything he said also black men do, excluding the homosexual thing. No, actually, the homosexual thing you can apply to some black men. Some black men do promote. I mean, Lil Nas X. So even in the one argument, you could kind of maybe, even though that's bullshit, if you look at percentages. Come on, nigga, do better. Please do better with the bullshit. How if it's women who chooses who procreate with and are the ones shaming men all day long? Girl, you make no sense. Black men is the root of the problem. They don't value black women and most of the time can't provide for their family. So this is where I say, why are you having sex with black men? Why are you doing that? Why I don't understand that. You're saying that they don't value black.
Well, according to Courtney, because to Courtney, it's because they're so loyal.
Oh, well, she's the thing about Courtney is, and I was nice to her, and I mean, I could have a conversation with her, but I'd be like, Courtney, everything you saying is like pre-2010. We bodied all of the points you're making. SWP, Thug, Titian, and Soul and Black body. All that shit was bodied to the point. A lot of these YouTubers that are out here now, they know they don't care. They don't care about the truth. They stopped telling the truth a long time ago because they realized they don't need to tell the truth to grow. And that they can't stand on it.
Well, well, Ed, I mean, hell, I mean, even Professor Black Truth, man, he delisted or made private his old video, especially Goodbye Miss Black America. He had a whole part series on that.
Oh yeah, my favorite one was Black Women, You're Fired.
Their behavior.
Yeah. Because black women will shut that shit down.
Right. But they had to switch it because, man, whenever I'm subscribed, like there's another guy. He's a professor out of Oregon State, and that's one of his big things is talking about the economic like the differences economically with black people in dominant society. And his big driving line, of course, he has a big black female following and counterparts who help participate on his platform on YouTube. His big thing is socialism. And of course, all the black women, of course, they're going to ride with that. They're going to ride with that. I'm not saying that there's not some give and take with it.
Well, because they believe in, like, understand something. Black women do not believe in they believe in sexual socialism. So when they hear socialism, they're thinking about socialism as far as mates are concerned. That's what they think. If you actually ask them that, that's generally where it comes out. Most of them don't understand economics and all of that because understand something and women, and they'll tell you in Canada, women benefit from that because that pretty much reiterates the shit as it is. But you do some shit like that, and then dudes are just, I mean, it's over. I mean, pretty much. Dudes are going to, because even the dude, it's going to be too much of a tax. And then, like, none of these people, no, sir, did you say took advantage of Sir, y'all didn't provide anything of stability. Therefore, black women had no choice. This is a dude saying that shit. This is a dude saying that shit. And it's like, so that's what y'all believe. And that's what a lot of people believe. They believe, like, nigga. Like, so you're really saying that black women are just in the gutters of poverty? And as soon as the government offer, so like, because why didn't other groups do that? What's black women's excuse today? Because more of them on welfare than the college educated. What's their excuse today? Yeah.
He's probably a far left gynocrat. I got that word. You got far left ones, and then you got far right ones. And we won't speak on who the far right ones are, but you got far left ones and you got far right ones.
How does a woman take your children if you want them, then get them? I don't know what dude talking about. I love black women. Strongest, most loyal women. I love black women, but nothing he said was wrong or a lie. Absolutely. I married an African. They value black women, and we still get a black man. Go ahead. And this is a light-skinned bitch saying that. They value black women, but you light-skinned. And I say that because Africans are more colorist than we are. You know? I mean, it's funny. As a white man that loves the beauty of a black woman, I can totally agree with my brother on how that's funny. These white boys are trolling. It's the billions of beauty for me. I hate weave. Absolutely. And that's true. That's true. And it's never framed that way. It's never framed that way. The most expensive thing we will ever pay attention to is the wrong people. Oh, well, you trying to, like I said, all they're saying is, nuh-uh, that's not true. That's not true. Not all of that is exactly true. But goddamn, he just told us about ourselves. Not me, though, but most of us. Yeah, and most of it is true. Curious of what the... And still, I love my melanated women. I look forward to my black wife. Yeah, because that's it. Because like I said, these niggas, like black women could kill their children and these niggas still be saying they're a good mom. Speaking quickly with editing does not make it true. Where the truth resides in these statements is on the effect, side effect, cause, and effect. No, see, black women, because, you know, black women can never be the villain in their own story. It always has to be a reason why they do what they do. It always has to, because, you know, women are inherently good. But a lot of it's really a lot of back and forth. Never blame the victim. We both, men and women, need to heal and forgive each other. I love our... Well, JJ, this is not about you. Like, you know, I've done none of this. It's not about you. Now make another video with positive attributes to Buster. I mean, why don't y'all make a video? Why don't y'all make a video that's not, no, we strong, we independent, we survive, we the most educated. Like, make another video without the typical bullshit people already say. Anyway, man, it's like 15,000 comments, yo. Anyway, what time is it? It's 2 hours. We got a good 2 hours. Was that Boyce Watkins? I know niggas mad because I'm not letting them have they, you know, though. You know, Jason Black gonna be Jason. Shout out and make sure you subscribe if you all are new. I appreciate it. My thing with Jason Black is Jason Black chose to play the I don't know, man. I really don't. He want to be everybody's losers. Everything came from him, which is bullshit. You know, everything. He the only nigga. You know, it's like, nigga, you acting like Jim fucking Jones, man. Like, for real. You need to chill. Because I know there's shit that I've come up with that ain't got nothing to do with what the fuck he say. It's a lot of shit we done came up with that ain't got nothing to do with the fuck he say. But like I said, I already know what he mad about. That nigga beaming. He very fucking mad that Kevin got the growth he got. And I don't want to just charge it to jealousy, but he's beaming. I know he is. And you know, I kind of let that ride with what that is. That's what that is. That's where that starts and that's where that ends. It really is. But anyway, you got any final thoughts before I end this shit?
Yeah, Ed, appreciate you for letting me on your platform. Appreciate everybody listening in on the broadcast. And yeah, I'm out of here. Thanks. Appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Don't hesitate to come back on. So this has been another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I am your host, Edward Anderson. Shout out to Arta Igmore. If y'all want, what the fuck is Arta Igmore talking about? You watch BGS's stuff. You got Red Pill looking at millennials. You got Melody. Yeah. So you got some good stuff going. So anyway, y'all, it's been great. So appreciate it. This is Edward signing off. Peace.